I have done with it? There it is. Oh, hey. I was just preparing for our Wacky Works Wednesday, but I think God has something different that he wants us to do. So come on. It's a little warm today. Well, we're not doing our Wacky Works, but that doesn't change the story. Remember that we said this was a rice bottle where you can find Jesus? Inside of this bottle, we found him. Inside of this bottle is a little Jesus that we have to find. Well, while I was looking for my little Jesus, God said, change. And change means that he's about to do something different than what he planned. What we had planned was to make our rice bottles for Wacky Works Wednesdays, where we make wacky works with our hands, because God does great things with his hands and you can too. But God said, change. So we're going to change, and we're going to do Wise Words Wednesdays. A wise word is simply a word that we might find in our Bible, or a word that we might hear a lot of our parents or friends or aunts use, and we don't understand what it means. Today's wise word, meditate. 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 Do you know what meditate means? That's okay. I'll help you understand. When you meditate, that means that you think. And you think. And you think some more. And that's what I was doing when I was looking for my wacky work. I was thinking, meditating on the story of Jesus being lost when he was only a boy. In this story, Jesus was only 12 years old. He was just a boy. He was going on a trip with his mommy and daddy, Mary and Joseph. He also was with some family and some other friends. Well, when they got to where they were going, it was a big celebration. Jesus began playing with his friends, and his mommy and daddy, Mary and Joseph, began talking to their family and friends too. Well, the end of the day came. After they had some so yummy, delicious food, they decided it was time to go back home. Mary and Joseph began to walk back home with the rest of their family and friends. One day later, they realized that Jesus, he's not here. Mary checked with family, Joseph checked with friends, but Jesus was nowhere to be found. So they had to turn around, and Mary and Joseph went back to where the celebration was. When they got back to the celebration place, they found Jesus in the temple. The temple is something kind of like a church. They found him there teaching and asking questions and having people ask questions of him. Not just any people, but the teachers and the leaders of the church. The people, the big people, were asking the little boy Jesus lots of questions, and they were blown away by the answers that Jesus was giving. Well, when Jesus saw his mommy standing there, he walked to his mommy, and then his mommy, Mary, she asked, Jesus, what are you doing here in the temple? And Jesus simply said, well, and didn't you know that I would be here in my Father's house about my Father's business? Mary looked at Jesus and she said, come on, Jesus, let's go. And that's what we want to meditate on today. That's what we want to think about today. In our story, we know that Jesus has a mommy and a daddy. But when his mommy was talking to him, Jesus said he was in his Father's house. But his dad was gone with his mommy. So what does that mean? If you have a dad and you have a father, guess what? You've got a father too. Jesus had a dad named Joseph on earth, the person that lived with him. Or maybe sometimes your dad might not live with you, or you might not even know your dad. My daddy didn't live with me. I kind of knew my daddy, and then my daddy died. But everybody, even if your daddy lives with you, your daddy doesn't live with you, or you might not know your daddy, everybody has a father. Our Father is God. God the Father of Jesus, the Father of all creation. I think that's what God wanted us to understand on our Wise Words Wednesdays. That even if we have a dad that lives in our house, or a dad that lives in another house, or we might not even have a dad, we have a father, and he's a good father. Thanks for coming by today. Sorry we switched up from Wacky Works Wednesdays, but we'll try again next week unless God says change. Then we have to obey. Bye. See you later.